But last year I ran across Cynthia McKinney, who I've loved her ever since she grilled Donald Rumsfeld on 9/11. I mean, she pinned his ears to the wall. It's the C-SPAN footage that I have saved to my hard drive, and I love to play it again from time to time. Cynthia McKinney tore Donald Rumsfeld up, and he deserved it. But anyway, so I get a chance to talk to her, and I made her, I drafted her into the mental militia. And she loved that. She said, you know, we can work together, because both of us were talking about let's unite people and get them above this false left-right paradigm. Let's unite us as human souls, as human beings, as people with hearts and wanting to be free. And let's accept each other's differences and stop this insanity called governments. So anyway, after I'm talking to her for a while, I tell Dan Happel, I mean, you won't believe this, but I'm having the nicest conversations with Cynthia McKinney. He said, oh my goodness, that's about as left as you can get. And Dan, that's about as right as you can get. So I said, yeah, but look at the beauty and the whole idea we could do here. And he agreed. He said, you know what, that's awesome. So we ended up, I introduced Dan Happel to Cynthia McKinney, and Cynthia ends up being introduced by Dan to Gila Griffin. Next thing you know, she's in the Red Pill Expo. Yeah. And the next thing I know, she gets Sherry Peel Jackson in there, who's another one of my heroes. So I don't really need to go get a TV show. I got live TV activities going on through my daily life, and while I'm hiding from it, trying to just be a little hermit in the woods, you know?
There's no escaping the information, Elias. No
I hear you, brother. Listen, I hear you.
We got to talk some more about these various subjects because, you know, as you have indicated, this crushing of individuality and making people into more of a mindless herd. I can't remember what animal it was, but I saw this wonderful YouTube video, and it was a raccoon, a great big raccoon, or some, you know, it was a little creature like that. But this was a big one, and this entire herd of cows was following this thing. And the thing would stop, look over its shoulder, like, "What's the matter with you, Muggs?" And they're all looking at it like, "You're interesting. We've decided you're to be our leader." So this thing goes walking off, and you know, he'd turn around every once in a while, and a couple of them going, "Well, wait a minute, what's he going to do?" He's just looking at him and nothing more. He walks off, and there must have been a couple of hundred of them just following this thing around.
I'd love to see that. Yeah,
it's a scream. It really is. Maybe we can find it and pop it in here. But
it's your herd mentality, man, and that is the opposite of individuality. Personally, I'm a peaceful kind of guy. I like individual responsibility and communal responsibility, where the individuals that comprise the community retain their individuality but still work together, right? And if they want to build a bridge or a road, they get together locally and decide what they want to do, and they all do it. And it's voluntary. It's, you know, it's like putting anarchy or self-government into practice, you know? Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the idea. That was the idea that the founders had. We have community, but we have, you know, individual rights. Well, how can you assign individual rights if there are no individuals, if it's all collective? And that's the problem, and that's the real problem.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. You know, I often, as an anarchist and an agnostic and a voluntarist, I often talk to people about Jefferson's concept of these unalienable rights that come from, quote, nature or nature's God. And these are inherent, intrinsic to us as we're born here. This according to Jefferson. I think Madison, Franklin, Washington, and a bunch of other founders agreed with that basic premise, that we're given certain unalienable rights that no man-made government has any authority to override or to assault. So I believe that. I mean, that's one of the very few beliefs I have, is that whatever, whether it was creation or whether it was the evolutionist original land life form that wriggled or scriggled out of the surf on some pristine seashore and became the first land life form and evolved from there. Whatever it was, or whether it was Adam and Eve, it wasn't a government and it wasn't a corporation. It was something natural. However we got here, it was a natural process. And whatever science thinks it's going to do to match that, I think is folly and futility. And I do know that people like Kurzweil would disagree with me about that. But
I can't believe I have to talk to a man with a Mennonite length beard and a biker bandana on, sitting in Montana, 400 miles north of Bozeman, before I hear another man pronounce the word correctly, unalienable. You're the only person other than myself and one other person that I've ever,
yeah.
It's always
well, you know, it's a point.
No,
how you pronounce it does make a difference.
Yeah, well, doesn't it? We can't be alienated from our rights. No, that's not what. No.
Right. Totally agree. And you know, you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be Hebrew. You don't have to be any religion. If you just admit that what Jefferson was saying when he wrote that into the Declaration of Independence, if you just admit that much, you're on the right path to finding a full red pill living experience of self-ownership. And what is more dynamically self-owned than your own internal, naturally given or God-given unalienable rights? And you know, it's real nice that you picked up on that pronunciation too, because I agree with you. A lot of people don't seem to know about that.
All right. Well, Elias, I look forward to our next conversation. That'll happen sooner than later, okay? And by the way, we never did really even get into your jewelry, but you make some of the most beautiful stuff. And I'm not just schmoozing you here. You make some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen. I mean,
oh, thank you, John.
I mean, I'm serious about this. It's amazing. It's like this Mozambique garnet in yellow gold finger ring with diamonds in quartz cluster, Ethiopian opal with diamonds in 18K as a pendant. This stuff is really stunning. And by the way, that piece of that's petrified wood that came from that volcanic crater. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yes, sir. The Montana opal wood. I'm so glad you remembered that. And I need to tell you, I wasn't really prepared. I'm gonna email Brindy and ask her for a mailing address. I'd like to send you both some more of that stuff if you didn't care.
Well, I can tell you that it occupies a prominent place on a 200-year-old Japanese chest.
Ooh, wonderful.
Yeah, it does.
Wonderful.
It's
awesome.
Amazing. I've never seen anything like it. It's stunning. Okay.
I can tell you this. Like I said, I've been a very lucky guy, but you remember Elvis Presley? He had a doctor named Dr. Nicopolis. Before Elvis died, I made Dr. Nicopolis a gold sculpted pinky ring. I made a blue gold and iolite piece for the drummer of the Moody Blues, Graham Edge's wife. And some of my pieces have been on national TV. But yeah, I've just had a lucky life. And when it comes to creating gold designs, the mental states that I live in is given toward beauty, and I appreciate that you think the jewelry you've seen there is beautiful, and I'm so looking forward. I will start casting again next month. I've almost finished building my casting shop out here in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, with electricity. So I'm very happy to be going back to that kind of work, and I'm very happy also to have got the chance to talk with you and with the missus who I met down at Bozeman.
Well, it was a real pleasure. You know, there's always like that old Louisiana lawyer said, no matter how thin you slice it, every piece of bread got two sides. But altogether, I thought that expo was pretty good. It really did. And the speakers were great. And of course, everybody loves G. Edward. So I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Yeah, he's a hero.
Well, agnostic or not, God bless you. And you know, I really think we need to do this. If anybody has, in the manner of the late Patrick McGowan, vindicated and illustrated the right of the individual to be individual, that would be you. And I hereby induct you into our Order of the Ark Knights. And this assembly rises to you, Sir Elias. Thank you very much. I really don't know what we were going to get into today, but I'll tell you what, I'm glad we did. I really am.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. I'm very honored and very pleased. So we'll talk again sometime.
All right, now. Stay safe out there.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye for now. Wow. That was really quite something. I thought, okay. I met him at the Red Pill Expo. We chatted a little bit. His jewelry is stunning, but you just never know. In the same way that you have no idea what dramatic, future-changing event may have taken place right there where you're standing, while you're out there walking your doggy. You never know the depth of character, the extent of the artistry, or even the mind, the depth of thinking. Anybody you meet. It says something in the Bible about, I can't quote the scripture exactly, but the effect is this. I'm not adding or taking away. But it's treat strangers with kindness, lest you entertain angels unaware. I think that's really good advice. You see,